Hello, all my singing little birds. I am anxious to get started on block 7. We are on block 7 already. If you are new to the group and you want to join in, it's not too late. These blocks are fine for beginners or more advanced quilters. Some of them may seem kind of simple to an advanced quilter, but it gives your mind a little break from doing something really complicated at least. So this month we're going to be doing a basket of flowers, and from some of the pictures that I see of how your quilts are coming together, I think there are going to be some beautiful little baskets of flowers in some of your quilts. I'm excited to see these pictures. My basket of flowers is going to be a little bit different. I am using only scraps, just things that I can pull out of my scrap collection, which is not much. I don't keep a lot of scraps. I usually buy, when I start a project, typically I buy what I need for that project, and then I try to use the scraps up from that. But these are my previous blocks, and so I want to kind of stay. I lay them out every month and see, and I want to kind of stay with a sort of monochromatic theme. So my basket of flowers is going to have tans and golds and blacks, and it's going to look just a little bit different, but it's going to fit in my quilt when I get it all put together. So let's get started. The main thing, if you're new, especially if you're new, is to watch video 1, January's block. It's kind of lengthy, but it has an awful lot of information in it. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press all my fabrics, and they are going to be pretty well starched. I use Terrial Magic, Best Press, whatever you need that you have on hand that you can really starch your fabric, especially this month, because this month our skill builder is going to be working with bias edges. So as you saw, the quilt block I already have done that I just showed you, there are so many triangles and bias edges, and some of them are large, like the body of the basket. So we need our fabric to be starched really good. So let's do that, and I will be back shortly, and we'll cut this little guy out. So here we go, we're ready to cut. This is my tablecloth fabric. This is my basket fabric, which I'm going to fussy cut a little bit, and you can see how I do that. I think we might have done that a little bit before in one of the other blocks, but it's fun to do, and so we'll do it again. And this is my background fabric. I found these big moths, and I thought, well, you know, a flower basket could have a moth nearby or a butterfly, and this is going to be my flowers. So for my tablecloth fabric, I need a couple of pieces. I need one triangle that's got 5 7/8 inch sides. So I didn't give you a square measurement to cut, but I'll show you a little trick. So here we're going to square this up in this corner. So I'm going to lay my ruler on here. Actually, I'm going to use my mat along with my ruler. I'm going to come a little bit over and line this bottom line up here on my mat with a nice straight line. And then I'm going to take this off and use the lines on my mat. And that way I know I've got a really nice square corner. So there's that. And now I need a triangle that has 5 7/8 inches up the sides. So let's see where we are at here. So here we go. I'm going to just lay this on here, not quite to the edges, almost, but not quite. Let me get a marker. I'll use red, so hopefully we can see it. And let me see if you can come in a little closer. So here's one right here. Here goes. Let's do it this way. There's one in this corner for going both ways. So now we need 5 7/8 inches up from this corner. So this is even. This is giving me a little bit of room here. Here's 5. There's 5 1/2, 6, 7. So I'll put a little mark right there. Fact is, I might have to move it up a little bit because it's on black, wouldn't you know? So now we're going to put it up to 5 7/8 on this side. This is going to be the point. Here's 5 1/2, 6, 7. So I'm going to put a little mark right here. And now we know that we have 5 7/8 inches up both sides, so let's double check. Yep. Always measure twice, cut once. That's how it is. So now I'm going to put my ruler right on my marks, and I'm going to cut it, and that's going to be my triangle. And this edge is a bias edge. It's really going to stretch. If you pull on it, it'll stretch a lot. These are a little stretchy. One of them doesn't at all. This one does a little bit. This one does a lot. So this month we're going to work with bias edges, and we're going to be really, really careful with our bias edges. You're going to touch all your quilt project pieces like they were pie crust, and that they will crumble really easily. So there's our first piece. And then also out of our tablecloth fabric we need 2 rectangles that are 3 by 7 3/4. So let's see what we got here on this side. We got 7 3/4 here. Oh yeah, we do. We do. Okay, so we need 3, don't we? 3 inches. So we'll cut it at 3 inches. And I'll overcut it because I've got a selvage down here at this end. So I have to take that off. You don't want to put a selvage in your quilt. There's one. And then let's do another 3 inch because we're going to need 2. We need 2 of these. There we go. Alright, there's our extra fabric. So now let's stack these guys. We can do that. It's Thursday. It's a free day. You can do anything on Thursday. Anyway, I think you can. Okay, so now I'm going to take this selvage off down at this end. And get it squared up here. Okay, here we go. Selvage is gone. And now we need 7 3/4 inches off of this. And I can't cut left-handed, so got to do it this way. There is 7 3/4. And now I have my tablecloth fabric cut out. So there's that. This is extra. Okay, let's move on to our basket. Let's cut our basket out next, because that's one I'm going to fussy cut, and I'm anxious to get it done, get it cut out anyway. So I looked this fabric over good when I was pressing it, and I decided that I want this cluster of flowers to be in my basket. So what I have to do, and this little ruler that I got from Missouri Star Quilt is so nice. I'm going to put that cluster of flowers right in this square here and center it. And so now I've kind of got a line I can see up through here. And I need my triangle to have 8-inch sides, which is here. So if I go across from here to here, I'm going to take part of my flowers off, my little gold flowers. So I'm going to scooch them down, and I'm just going to watch and make sure that this center line is right where I want it. And now I've got my little gold flowers in my basket. Let's see how far down in my basket are they. Oh, they're really nice. They're just right about in the middle. Okay, let's cut it out. So, let's see here. I think we'll just do it like this. We're going to fussy cut. We might as well just tear into it, huh? Okay, now I need my mark at 8, 8, and 8. And I'm going to just cut it across. I'll see if this will fit. It won't. Too short. I bet you this one will. Let's see if I can find my mark here. Here it is. Okay, here we go. 8 and 8. Okay, here we go. Another way you can do this is to cut a square and just cut the square in half. But there's the bottom of my basket with my gold flowers in the middle. So let's see, what else do we need from our basket material? Our basket fabric, and we need a 3 3/8 inch square, and we're going to cut that one corner to corner. I wonder if we can get, I don't know. I don't think we can get any the gold on both pieces. Let me get a smaller ruler. Whoops. Okay. What we need? What did we say we needed? 3 3/8. Okay. Well, we'll try to get some of this one. This square. This might get us some gold here. So we'll work on that. I'm going to cut this big and then cut it down. All right. Now then, this is extra. Okay, 3 3/8. Now we got it. Okay, and now it wants us to cut it in half diagonally. The pattern says to do that. And remember, what are we going to have when we do that? We're going to have bias edges. So we don't want to stretch any of our bias edges. So there's our basket cut out. So now we've got our tablecloth and our basket cut out. Let's see what we're going to do about our flowers. Alrighty, from our flower fabric, I've cut this 3 1/4 inch strip, and it's doubled. So we need 6 3 1/4 inch squares. So here's 2. Here's 4. And then one more, and we've got 6. And then we're ready to cut our background squares. And we are going to be cutting some of our flower squares on the diagonal, but let's do that when we get to it. That way we don't lose pieces. So here's our flowers all cut out, and this will be extra. And now we need our background fabric. And I was thinking I'd like to fussy cut this too, but it needs to be 3 1/4. And the butterflies don't quite make it, because there's going to be a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Plus we're going to cut some of these in half. I guess we'll just go with it. See how it turns out. What about this way? Oh yeah, they could work this way maybe, but they're still going to get cut in half. I don't know, might be an interesting pattern. Okay, what do? You go this way or this way? I don't know. I think I'll go this way, just for fun. Okay, so I need, let's see, let's go ahead and double this up, so we don't need it all sprawled out all over the place. And we're going to need 7, I believe it says, 7 3 1/4 inch squares. Here's 2. Four. There it is. Now we've got an extra one, but that's okay. All right, we're all cut out. Let's see what we need to do to get started sewing. Okay, we're working on our flowers, and this is my background, my butterfly fabric. And the pattern tells me to mark a diagonal line, corner to corner, on 4 of my squares for my background. So I've done that, and I'm just using a friction pen. And then I need these 3, and these are all going to be cut on the diagonal, corner to corner, so we'll do that now. And remember to watch your gentle hands, don't do any stretching. Pulling, anything like that. So we're going to need 5 triangles. So we're going to have 1 triangle too many, and we'll just put that aside for another project, and we'll have 1 triangle too many of our flower fabric too, which it'll be okay. Okay, there are my triangles, and let's see, we need 2, I believe. We need to cut 2. Let's see what it says. 2 squares on the diagonal and leave the rest of them full. So we'll cut these 2. And these are my flower fabric. This is my flower fabric. That's my background fabric. My fabric wants to wiggle. My blade doesn't want to cut. I'm having quite a day. Okay, let's see. There we go. I made it. So now we're going to take one of our flower fabrics and our background fabrics, and we're going to line them up, and I'm going to put a pin, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of this line we drew. So we'll go do that. I'll get these pinned, and we'll go and do that. And then we're going to cut them apart right on the line. So we're going to sew on each side of the line 1/4 inch on these guys. And we're going to put our triangles together too. But we're going to go slow, and we're going to be real careful so that our block turns out really pretty and accurate and nice. You want to cut really carefully when you cut your pieces out for your block. And you want to test, make sure you test and are absolutely positive that you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to be using my 37D foot, which I love. And okay, I think we have 1 extra of both of these that we're going to set aside. So we need 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I know we have to put a couple of these together. Let's see, put the black on the bottom, then I can see better. And you're probably wondering why on earth we're doing it like this, but we're practicing handling bias edges. And when we get ready to put our basket together, you'll see that we have kind of an odd place on the flowers at the top of the basket where we have to piece in a triangle, and we have to do that 3 times. So we have to have some triangles, and we can't do it all in squares like you would think would be the easiest way. Alright, let's go and stitch these guys up. So there's 1, 2, and here's 3. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to take these over, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on my little triangles on my, and I'm going to handle this really careful because this is bias. And then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of my lines here, and we will be back, and we'll be putting together our little flower section of our basket for the block. So we're sewing these little triangle pieces very carefully. We're not going to stretch or pull, and I'm doing some chain piecing. So I've just kind of got my fabric, my little patchwork pieces feeding in, and I'm using a very accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm using my 37D foot, which I really, really love. And 65/9 needle. I did not change any tensions. I'm just using stitch number 1 on my basic screen. Nothing crazy. And I'm using Aurifil. I think it's 50 weight cotton thread, and I have that in my bobbin too. And now we're going to sew down these guys, and we're going to go in this way. And my 37D foot is exactly 1/4 inch on both sides, so I've got my line on this side on the left, but the next one I'll be able to put in, I think, on the right. I'm going to move this pin though. And just scoot down along here. And that's what I love about this 37D foot. You can just go in on either side. Now I have my line on the right side. And I really love doing patchwork this way. I really love my Bernina. I hope you love yours too. And on this block, just don't get discouraged. It's kind of a complicated block. Just go slow. Watch the video, this video, and read your directions really, really carefully. Just go slow. You can do it. I'm really, really proud of all of you who are doing the block of the month. Okay, we're going to take these back over to the workstation, and we will press. We'll press and we'll cut these apart. Oh wait, we've got to go down the other side, don't we? Yeah, we got to do that. Okay, we'll all do that, and then we'll go back over and do everything else. Okay, we're going to cut these apart, and then we're going to press them, and all the seams are going to go toward the dark fabric, and then we're going to square these little squares up, and they should all be 2 7/8 inches square. So we're going to make sure we've got that. And then we'll kind of lay them out, and you can kind of see then where we're going to put our extra triangles that we had to cut, instead of being able to leave them all in squares. Okay, so now I'm going to go and press these, and I'll be right back. I've got everything pressed, and I've got some of my little flower blocks, pieces of patchwork, trimmed over here. And the way I did that, there's these awesome rulers. This is an Omnigrid, but there are many different brands. But I love Omnigrid because they have a really reduced size grid in that corner, and also there's a diagonal line that goes across the whole ruler. So these little blocks, each one of them needs to be 2 7/8 inches square. So all I have to do is put that diagonal line down the center of my block and put it right on 2 7/8, and I can trim it. And to be honest, there was only one of these little blocks in this whole pile that really needed any big trimming. And I also have taken all my dog ears off. You're going to want to do that so that you don't have so much heavy corners in your seams. So let's kind of lay this out now. So we had these extras, and remember I said we had to do that. We couldn't do everything in squares like we're used to doing. So let's lay this out. So the top row is going to have 4 blocks, and they're going to lay out just like this. Let me see if I can fix you. Let's see, let's scoot it down. Okay, they're going to lay out just like this. And so the background is going to be in the upper right. The flowers are going to be in the lower left. And it's going to take 4. I'm still going to have to move it so you can see better. 4 for the top row. And then we need 3. Same orientation. And then we need 2. And you can kind of see how our flower basket's kind of coming together. And the last row just has 1. But now we have to put the bottom of the basket on, so we need these little triangles that we cut in here. So our next step in making this block is going to be to match up the top corners. Don't worry about this little extra coming off or over here either. Match the corner at the top and stitch a 1/4 inch and press toward the background on this one. But we're going to put these 3 on just like that. This one here, and this one here, and this one here. And then we're going to put on the bottom of our basket. And it has 2 sides that go on it down at the bottom, and they are going to be on our tablecloth. This is my tablecloth fabric. Kind of weird names for the fabric this month, but and then this one goes here, and that's our block. That's our whole block. And so we're going to go ahead and stitch these on to row 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to stitch these rows together. Then we're going to add the bottom of the basket. And we'll go from there. Let's see, let me do this part first, and then I'll show you how to add the bottom of the basket. So I've got my flowers all together and my background, and so now it's time to put the bottom of our basket on, and we need to kind of center it. So I'm going to use this point up here, and I'm going to just lay it right on the seam down along here. My edges are even, and the point of the bottom of my basket is headed straight toward the corner of my block. So I'm going to pin it very carefully, because remember, this whole great big long edge, top and bottom, is bias. So until we get it stitched, it's really, really, really unstable. So I'm gonna be really careful here and pin it real good. And now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam right down along this edge. Okay, so I've got my seam sewn, and I'm going to press the bottom of my basket toward the dark here, toward my big basket piece. And when I put my rows together, you can see here maybe I pressed the top row this way, the next row I pressed this way, and this way, so that all my seams would nestle into each other, and I got perfect points on all of these little half square triangles. So I'm going to press this, and I'm going to next stitch these little end triangles of my basket to my tablecloth rectangles. So I'll do that next, and then we will put them one at a time onto the main block, and then we'll add the bottom of the tablecloth. Okay, I've got my little block all together, and this last triangle down here is quite oversized. I've already trimmed one side. I trimmed like that much off of it, and you can see I have about that much on the other side. So I'm going to just line my ruler up with my my nice rectangle and trim, and there's my block all done. And this should finish 12.5 inches square. I have a 12.5 inch square ruler here, and none of my blocks have, in this whole quilt along, have come out right. And so this one's just a little bit off here and down here, but everywhere else it looks good. And it could just be my pressing. I think in some of my other blocks, my pressing was not as nice as it could have been. So you can see I might have, you know, I could have some little tucks here or there. But I hope you enjoy making this month's block. If you have any trouble at all, just give me a holler. I'll be glad to help you. And I hope you have a great month of July, and I want you to go sew something really beautiful and post the pictures on the group, and have a great day.